Hi everybody, it's been a while since I did a regular video here. I did the kind of beauty box unboxing, I did the Medusa makeup box unboxing, and I did the So Susan Color Curate package unboxing. This comes in a bubble wrap package. Uh, well, I canceled that one. Um, yeah, I'm just not real thrilled with their products. Some of their stuff is really pretty nice, but so anyway, that's my vision chart for October. Something new I'm trying. My vision board. I don't like putting up these pictures because, yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. But I put down what I want to do and why I want to do it, and that helps a lot, especially during the day when I'm sitting on the opposite side with my work computer doing my lovely day job. Oh my gosh. I'm so looking forward to saying goodbye to that job and just working on my business. Anyways, this channel is something different. So I went for a walk today. It was a little over a mile, which is the longest I've done in a while. And I wasn't going to do it because I'm not feeling really great and my legs are hurting. But I was like, yeah, just get up and do it. You've been losing weight. I've been losing weight, so I'm real happy about that. Just get up and do it. Get that exercise in. Get your blood pumping. So I did, and I feel really good about it. I had to stop for a minute and sit down for, you know, just one part of it, which is really good for me. Um, and I've been really called towards spirit lately, and I haven't been reaching for my scriptures very often, and haven't been watching many spiritual things on YouTube in the morning. I've been watching some things that make me laugh. That there's a YouTube channel that's showing, it's a British one that's showing episodes of Secret Scotland with Susan Calman, and she's a stand-up comedian, but she's also exploring the country of Scotland. And oh my gosh, what a beautiful place. God bless that place with beauty. Oh, it is. I want to go to Scotland. I really do. It's just gorgeous, and there's so many things there. I didn't realize that it was as big as it is, and castles and palaces, but also craftsmen, bringing back old crafts, and people living in all sorts of different new and old ways, and it's really exciting. And I would love to go there. So my bucket list that I really didn't have before is now, it was New Zealand. Okay, it's the UK, Ireland, Wales, plus the UK, um, New Zealand, and now definitely Scotland. I'm separating out Scotland. So Wales and Scotland, Ireland, I suppose North Ireland as well, and England, and then New Zealand. And I really want to go see Hawaii as well. So my travel bucket list is growing. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. But that makes me feel good. That makes me feel close to God. So today, while I was walking, I have the New Testament on Audible. I thought I had gotten the whole Bible, and it's James Earl Jones. And if you don't know who he is, he's an actor with his amazing voice. But it's just the New Testament, so that's okay. That's fine. I'm good with that. So I would listen to Matthew chapter 6 and chapter 7 while I was walking. And yeah, Matthew so far seems like the synopsis to Christ's life, to Jesus' life. So it's like, doom, 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 doom. It's like, okay, I hope the other books go a little bit slower. I don't really remember the pace, but I know that Matthew has never been really my favorite book of the apostles. So, but that's okay. A lot of stuff in it. But I have also been watching episodes of The Watchmen, which the host spends a lot of time in Jerusalem and visits a lot of archaeological digs and figure out, was Christ at this place? Could he have taught in this temple? Is this the city that's mentioned in the Bible? Is this, can they find any kind of facts? And they've been finding facts. Um, it's kind of hard because parts of Jerusalem are controlled by Muslims. I don't know if all of Jerusalem is, um, but yeah, so it can be really sticky, like the temple um, mound where the dome over the rock, they believe it's the rock that Abraham used, was going to use to sacrifice Isaac. I don't know if it was that. There was a church. There's been several churches built there, and it's in Jerusalem by the East Gate, which is blocked. There's a bunch of gates around it, but there's only one gate that people who are not Muslim can enter, and they can only enter in these short little periods of time. Then you have to keep your, there's all these restrictions and things you can't do because it's mainly for Muslims, which is kind of sad, but that's how it goes. Um, but there is an archaeological dig nearby, and they've gotten down to the first temple, debris from the first temple, the second temple, and the first temple. So it's like, yeah, there's definitely proof that these temples were there and that they're as old as they say they are, and which is really, really exciting. But just to see all the ruins that are opening up and that they're digging out in Jerusalem is amazing, and it makes me feel that's the other one on the bucket list. That's the one I forgot to say is Jerusalem. I really want, not Israel. I really want to go to Israel, and I would like to see Jerusalem, but I really want to go to Israel because it's just amazing, and the Galilee area is just beautiful. Well, in certain parts of the year, times in the year, but yeah. So yeah, just listening to that while I was walking. I usually don't listen to anything while I go for a walk because I like to hear the birds. I also like to hear anybody coming up behind me, or because it can get a little rocky at times. It's not the safe. It's definitely not the safest city in the country. It's one of the least safest cities in the country, but I live in a relatively safe area. So anyway, went for that lovely long walk, and I listened to those two chapters. I think I listened to chapter 5, 6, and 7, and then I switched over to a book called The Greater Story, which is a Christian. I guess Audible has categories, and this falls in the Christian one, and it's a fantastic story. Oh gosh, the author's last name is Collier. Is it Sam? What is this person? Anyways, I just started listening to it, and it's really good. It was recommended to me by a friend on Facebook because I told her she's black, and I told her I want to learn more about become more conscious about black society and why they're so angry, and yeah, it's so I'm learning a lot about myself and a lot about these books. I know today was so odd, so I don't go to the local Walmart because it's for one reason it's enormous. For reason two is that people come from around the area I live in to go there because it's so huge, and there's an area near where I live that's a hot spot for COVID. They were one of the neighborhoods that spikes and then comes back down, and then spikes and then comes back down, and so it's like, I just go to a smaller Walmart a little bit further away. I'm up there for another store, and I'm up in that area for another store. I don't just go to that area for just that store. There's a couple other stores up there that aren't on my side. They're in that suburb, and it's not that terribly far from me. And today I'm walking around doing something. And it's like it seemed a little more crowded than usual, and people weren't keeping 6 feet apart, and it was like everybody was speaking Spanish for a few minutes. I was like going, is everybody speaking Spanish? Whoa. I mean, I'm used to going into a store and having some people speaking Spanish, some people speaking another language, and other people speaking English, and this was like, wow, this is weird. It's like everybody's speaking Spanish today. It's like, and I was like driving home, I'm going, oh my gosh, was that a racist thought? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be, but I just thought, well, maybe they decided to play it safe too and not go to the big Walmart by me, or not go to the other big Walmart, which is a really hot spot at Whole place is just horrible with COVID. And they decided to come up here with their families where it might be safer. And I can't blame them for that one little bit. It just kind of surprised me. Unless it was just, just a big coincidence, which can happen. But, that was kind of cool. Um, but as I was listening to the greater story, as I was walking, it's about the author and his twin sister were given up at birth, I guess, for at birth for adoption. Their mom, they knew that their parents were both drug addicts. I guess they didn't know this, but they were in a home. I think they were in foster care and then a home. Anyhow, they were adopted by a couple. And the couple told them that the woman at the adoption home kept telling people, "Oh, you don't want those two. The parents are drug addicts. They're gonna have health problems. They're never gonna amount to much. You don't want those kids." It's like, I was like, "Oh my God, how rude! How absolutely rude." Oh, worse than rude, actually. But anyways, this couple came in and adopted them. They were determined to take them home because they weren't going to have kids. I guess the woman couldn't have kids because the father had two boys with his first wife, so he wasn't impotent. So she may have had trouble because her first marriage was abusive, so something might have happened. I don't know yet. I'm still in the beginning of the book, but anyhow, they adopted these two kids, and the author said at one point, he said, it's kind of a long legacy in Black communities. Adoption is not unheard of, not uncommon. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. He said, well, just think of he went on to say, when Blacks were slaves, children were taken away from their parents. Parents were taken away from their children. Even babies, brand new babies, were taken away from their mothers. So it's like somebody had to raise them. Somebody had to adopt them and take them in and help them out, even if it was another slave that, they were just dropped off at or whatever. But it's like, wow, that's got to be really, really complicated to trace your roots back. If, slavery wasn't just like a couple decade or two. It lasted quite a while. And if this was really common, I hadn't thought of that before. I knew kids were taken away, I knew parents were taken away, but it's like I hadn't thought of the vastness of it and how big that is. And some kids died, but some kids were taken in. Some moms whose kids were taken away from took care of the other kids. How confusing to try to trace your roots. If you really want to know who your biological parents and whatever grandparents, great grandparents are, that has got to be really difficult to follow. I mean, for one thing, a lot of slave owners didn't take good records. The United States didn't take good records. I know my mother's father's mother came from Ireland. At least that's what he said. She had an accent. She spoke Gaelic and a little bit. And my second oldest sister got her DNA results back, and there's no Irish in there. And she thought she was the most Irish in the family. And it's like, she has no Irish. They didn't list Irish on there. But my youngest sister does have it listed on hers. And so I said, yeah, see, we are part Irish. See, we have Irish. And she's, so she's been trying to disprove it. And she comes out with a census record. And she said, there's great grandma. I was like, yeah. See, see, look, her birthday is here in Georgia. I said, okay. I said, what's that name there? Well, that's her father. I said, I gave her back the paper and said, what does it say about his birth date and birthplace? And she goes, oh my God, it's the exact same date. And I said, that's what happened with indentured slaves. They did not keep good records on them. That's the date they probably arrived and started working for whoever the family is who is paying for their slave labor. So it's like, yeah. So I know those records are not well kept, so that's gotta really be rough. Luckily for all of us, God knows who we belong to. God knows how we got here. God knows who our parents and grandparents and great grandparents and all that stuff is. So, yeah, so after hearing that about in the book, I was like, well, okay, that's a really big thing, because if that's fairly normal for blacks who are, blacks whose families have been in the United States since, before slavery or during slavery and stuff like that. Well, that's got to be a disconnect for them, a major disconnect that can really, it could throw anybody off, not knowing who your family really is. So it's like, so I now have another dimension of understanding. I mean, for me, I can say, okay, this is my mother's, my father's, their brothers, sisters, their parents, where they came from, what this, going back to, well, I can't trace my Cherokee and Iroquois ancestry, but I can do the European and Eastern European part of the family. So it's like, so for me, it's like, I've just not known this for years, and it's like, oh my God, I mean, it's been kind of a comfort for me. So it's like I just wonder how much that kind of throws them off. But I do know some blacks haven't been able to trace their family, which is great. But yeah, so just have to put in God's hands, because He knows who we are. He knows where we come from. He knows our purpose. So, anyways, I just wanted to say hi and God bless, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Bye.